It seems like Uryu hasn't forgotten what happened with Ichigo during their fight against Helikura, and so he decided to take revenge on Ichigo, and in a very harsh way. I'm just kidding guys, there is no doubt that Uryu is up to something hidden with all of his current actions, which we'll talk about in this video. Because today's episode guys was full of events and new information about Uryu's power as well as Okitake's great strength, and of course we can't forget Ichigo in the final scene. So guys, first of all Yhwach spoke about something very important regarding Ryu in his parts. Ryu the Sealed One is a body without legs or arms. Of course the matter of the legs is still unclear and we don't know where they are, but the arms are another story. The studio keeps emphasizing what the right and the left arm represent. Kyoraku in the previous episode mentioned that the right arm represents progress, while the left arm represents stability. And this was the same explanation Yhwach gave. But he said something important. He asked Ryu, "If you see the future, why do you stop me with your right hand?" And it seemed as if Yhwach believed Ryu agreed with him, and that Ryu expected this outcome. That's why Ryu shouldn't have stopped Yhwach. But the arrival of Mimihagi showed that perhaps the right arm had its own will and was protecting the Soul Society, aligning with the Shinigami. And this is what Yhwach even said in the manga. Mimihagi became attached to the Soul Society, and so it would protect the interests of the Shinigami, which is to protect Ryu, the center of the Soul Society in the other words. Another important thing guys besides what Mimihagi is doing is Okitake, and how he has all that power to use Mimihagi in the place of Ryu himself. As Urahara said, Okitake's life is what keeps Mimihagi continuing to stabilize Ryu and the worlds. So can you imagine the amount of spiritual power Okitake has to be able to make Mimihagi play the role of Soul King? Not only that, but I think Okitake was controlling Mimihagi even in defending Ryu. If you noticed, Mimihagi would defend against Yhwach's attacks and something like lightning would come out of it. And lightning has something to do with Okitake's Shikai, especially in the release command. There is the power of lightning. That's why I believe Mimihagi was using also Okitake's power, especially the Zanpakuto, to defend Ryu. On the other hand, it seems that Ichigo either has control over his Quincy powers and uses them when he needed, or his Quincy powers are being activated without him realizing it. Because there were new additions not found in the manga that clarified how Ichigo used BLEACH to push back Yhwach's powers, which he used to make Ichigo cut Ryu. And the same thing will happen when Uryu attacks him with one of his arrows. Ichigo will use the BLEACH again. And I think this hints that Ichigo will rely more on Quincy techniques in the future. As for Uryu Ishida, it can be said that his role in the anime is becoming even darker than in the manga. His goal might be the same in the end, but Uryu in the anime seems to be more determined to show that he is truly on Yhwach's side, and nothing will change that decision. Because the speech Ichigo prepared to convince Uryu seems to be something Uryu already knew about. In fact, Uryu might know things Ichigo doesn't, since Uryu learned a lot of things from reading his grandfather's notes. However guys, I find Uryu's justification not convincing at all. "Because I'm Quincy" is the phrase he always uses when Ichigo asks him why he is with Yhwach, even though Uryu was very surprised when he saw Ichigo activating the BLEACH. I think he didn't know Ichigo was also a Quincy until that moment, especially since for a long time he thought he and his father was the only surviving Quincy's and had never heard that the Kurosaki family were actually Quincy's too. Now we come guys to the fight between Ichigo and Uryu's activation of his Vollstandig. First of all guys, it's noticeable that Ichigo didn't want to force Uryu into battle, nor did he intend to raise his sword. And regarding this point guys, Ichigo made an important comment about Uryu's release but in the past in a different way. If you remember in Ichigo's fight against Kirgi Oppi, when Kirgi Oppi first activated his Vollstandig, Kirgi said that this transformation was opposed by Soul King, and he didn't agree with their evolution. Ichigo then said in that panel that he was glad Uryu didn't have such creepy transformation or he might accidentally cut him. And as you have seen in this episode, Ichigo wasn't able to do that when Uryu activates his Vollstandig. And speaking about the Vollstandig of Uryu, guys, I really like the design and it suits Uryu's look, but I think Uryu might have done something that his grandfather wouldn't agree with, which is gaining that power through Vollstandig, since as we said, Soken opposed these evolutions in the first place. However guys, if you look from another angle, the Vollstandig seems to be better than the old one, since it doesn't make the Quincy lose their powers. And if we consider Kelgi's OP's words, this release is much stronger than the one Uryu used in the past when he fought Mayuri. Another thing guys I noticed about Uryu's Vollstandig is that there seems to be something about his heart, something that could be the source of his power. They focus on that part a lot of times. First of all, when Uryu broke free from Shinjimaru's seal, his power emerged from his heart. And this time too, we see the arrow mark above that part, the part of the heart. I would have said that Uryu might have the heart of the Soul King, but that organ is already with Girard, so I believe there is a secret about this matter. Another point guys is that the nature of Uryu's Vollstandig ability seems to be similar to how Byakuya's Bankai works. In his Bankai, Byakuya holds the Shinbon Sakura petals in his hand, whether for defense or attack. As for Uryu, his main ability involves forming a large number of arrows and controlling them however he wants through his hands. Even the way Uryu gathered the arrows and formed that sphere around him resembles Byakuya's technique, the Goki, which he used against Zumari. But I don't think this is the full power of his Vollstandig. Uryu might take Antithesis' ability to another level in that form. That's why I think perhaps, just perhaps guys, the injury Uryu inflicted on Ichigo might be a trick to take Ichigo out of the fight. Because the way the Seiyuu showed Ichigo's injury in that frame makes it seem like Ichigo's body is a wall or something like that, something not a human body. That's why guys, I think either Uryu truly attacked Ichigo to harm him, resulting in a massive wound on his chest, and Orihime will have to intervene and save him, or maybe Uryu used a trick to take Ichigo out of the fight, because in the manga it was Iribaru who was about to attack Ichigo, but at the last moment Uryu intervened and shot an arrow at Ichigo's chest, and that was how it happened in the manga. But in the anime version, it was different and shocking. That's why I think there might be a trick, especially since Uryu might have known that he was being watched by everyone, especially by Hashfeld, who has been observing him for most of his actions, whether when he activated the Vollstandig or when attacked Ichigo. That's why I think the next episode will reveal what really happened. And lastly guys, I want to talk about this trio, Ganjo, Orihime and Chad. Personally, I wish these minutes spent on them and their attempt to fight the elite guards were used for something else, because we already know what's going to happen. The three don't stand a chance against them, and the thing that I didn't like is with Ganjo. Ganjo's behavior when he used his sand technique and how Orihime reacted to him. I think the battle circumstances didn't call for this kind of comedy, and it doesn't make you feel like these characters truly understand what they're doing or where they are. We saw how much Ichigo was struggling to convince Uryu, Okitake sacrificing himself to keep the world stable, while Ganjo still thinks he's at the beginning of the Soul Society arc. So guys, tell me what you think about the episode, its events, Uryu's Vollstandig, and did Ichigo really got that shot, or there is something else like a trick or something like that? Tell me guys your opinions in the comments and see you in my next video.